Folks, it is Sunday. I'm recording this, and it is the calm before the storm. Yes, you heard me right, okay? Three absolutely massive things going on this week. And, oh boy, okay. It's going to be a big week, okay? Yes, it's going to be a big week. I can't even get too excited, okay? Two of these things matter for me in a substantial way. This is of earnings, this is my Super Bowl this week, okay? All the other weeks have mattered, but this is my personal Super Bowl. Two massive things are happening this week. One thing is actually happening this week that matters to everybody watching this video, and I mean literally every single person watching this video. There's something going on this week that's absolutely insane for everybody. But two things specifically for me, and maybe those two things matter for you as well. We're going to discuss all that. I'm estimating, this is probably low side, but I think my net worth is going to drop or go up 400,000 at least this week, and I think that's a conservative number. It's an absolutely huge week, okay? Right off the bat. So first off, the market's been coming back very nicely. I mean, it's been let's see, over the past month or so, I'm probably up about $1 million or so, maybe a little over $1 million. I still got about probably close to 3 million to get back to November highs. I don't think that's happening until back half of 2023 or maybe even 2024 to get the other 3 million back. Let's just put it that way, to get back to new records. But yeah, it's been a sweet kind of past month, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have felt that out there in the market. Okay, so first things first, the chef is reporting within 24 hours from now. Within 24 hours from now, the chef is reporting their earnings, okay? I think everybody watching this video knows how important that stock is to me. I have nearly 100,000 shares of the chef as of right now, and I'm going to likely buy a lot more shares. I'm going to share my plan in just a moment. The chef has been coming back pretty nice over the past month. It's up about 23% in the past month. With the broader market, has been, in a good place as well. It hasn't gone insane or something like that, but it's come back a decent amount over the past month. Now, in regards to the chef, here's what we're looking at. Okay, analysts are expecting the company to grow 26% revenues for this quarter they're about to report. As far as EPS goes, as far as 7 days ago at least, the EPS expectations are for them to lose 14 cents of EPS essentially. And, this is a situation where the company has very low expectations. Next quarter, analysts only have them growing revenue 15%. So we're talking about very, very low expectations going into this quarter. And I think they're definitely in a position to potentially upside surprise. Now, management team has told us. Here's what management team told us on the last quarter. That's going to give you some insight on what they're about to report, okay? Management team told us in the last quarter that they're not expecting essentially any improvement in margin for this quarter they're about to report. They also told us that no substantial, substantial better situation for free cash flow. So essentially, we're in a situation where the expectations are very, very low for this company for this quarter. Okay. Now, the company has said that they expect margin improvements and cash flow improvements in the back half of the year, meaning 3Q and 4Q. Okay. So for the chef, those quarters are going to be very, very vital. For this quarter, the expectations are so dang low going in. And I will say, in terms of level of comfort for me, when it comes to my stocks, I usually like it if the expectations are on the floor, because usually, as long as a company does something decent, they can put themselves in an upside surprise situation, okay? I'm not necessarily counting on that for the chef, but they're definitely at least in a position, right? And this is a company that every single quarter for the last 4 quarters has, basically had EPS miss. Every quarter for the last 4 quarters. And, that's just obviously not something Wall Street wants to see. Like, they're not going to have trust in a company until a company starts hitting EPS numbers and then starts beating EPS numbers. That's the game of Wall Street. If you come in and you disappoint quarter after quarter after quarter after quarter, your stock price is going to get hit. As we've seen with the chef, it's going to get absolutely nailed, okay? And so this is a company that the expectations are now on the floor for this company. And if they just come in with something decent, there's definitely obviously, quite a bit of upside there in the situation. Now, you might say, in regards to me, buying so many shares of stock and so many shares of stock over, the past many, many months, right? I look at it this way, okay? I'm betting on the chef because I believe this is going to be a company that It's not just going to be a revenue story. I believe it's going to be a margin story, and I believe it's going to be a profitability story as the quarters emerge. And I believe over the next 24 months, it's going to become very clear to everybody that looks at this company that this is a revenue growth company, a strong brand, SKU expansion, product expansion, margins, and profitability and free cash flow all in one company. And I believe that's all going to play out within the next 24 months, essentially. And so the reason I'm getting in is because I believe that's going to play out, right? And you might say, well, why not let these things play out and then start buying, right? Which I think that's a fair question. I think that's a very fair question. Why not let the truth be told here, and let's let everything play out. Don't buy the stock and just stay on the sidelines. See if it happens, right? See if the margins improve, the net income improves, the free cash flow improves, and everything goes the way I think it's going to go, right? Well, the issue with that is, when those things start to improve, usually what happens is the stock price starts to move up. Way before the company ever becomes this great margin company that's so well respected, in a free cash flow company, in a company that everybody looks at and they're like, oh yeah, that's a respected company. Like they're doing their thing. They put up good numbers quarter in and quarter out. When you're on the path to getting there, your stock price usually goes up and up and up. And you can look back at every single stock ever that was a doubted stock, which every single stock in the stock market has been a doubted stock. There's not one stock in the stock market that was not a doubted stock at one point or several points along its history, including every single big tech company, every single big company in general. There was many times along that company's history when they were the ones that were counted out, right? And so the way I look at it is, I think the Chef's stock price will look something like this over the coming years if what I believe is going to play out, right? And so I can't just sit on my hands and kind of wait in that situation and be like, well, I'll wait to see if they become a margin beast over the coming years, and net income beast and a free cash flow beast. The stock price will already moved way up by that time. That's what happens. I wish it was so perfect where you could wait for all the story to play out and whatnot. That's not the way it works, right? If we look at every stock that's went on a big run, it started going that run as improvements started to be made. So if the Chef, let's say for instance, they do what they say they're going to be able to do, which is start improving margins and free cash flow in the back of this year, I bet you money the stock price is probably going to reflect that, right? And as their margins get better and start increasing, as their EPS losses get less and less, right? And as the revenue continues to expand and the brand gets bigger and into more retailers and more prominent in the different retailers, right? As that story plays out, essentially, the stock price is already going to be moving by that time and moving in a pretty substantial way. That's the way it happens. And so I wish in the stock market you could wait for the whole story to play out and then be like, oh, then get in and make a bunch of money. It's not the way this works. Now, you can still make money getting in a stock that's on that kind of growth trajectory, and it's like things are getting better and better. You're just going to have to usually pay a much more substantial price than the person that was betting on that stock when they still had those things to play out. And, as any company that loses money, it's always you're taking a risk, okay? You're absolutely taking a risk, right? And every stock in the stock market's a risk. And the Chef right now, I think it's one of those stocks that's, I think, looked at and it's like it's in a kind of its awkward stage, right? Where it has a lot of potential, but it's almost like a kid in high school that you look at and like, man, that kid has a lot of potential, but they're kind of a screw up, and we don't really know if they're going to ever achieve their potential. Essentially, right? They're in that awkward phase right now, where people look at it and like, man, their revenue's growing like insane. We see their product sell-throughs insane. We see how many new SKUs are getting in all these stores, and it's like it's an exciting kind of deal, and it's like there's so much potential there. But they're kind of a screw up because their margins aren't in a good place. Their free cash flow is not in a good place. One quarter last year they had to postpone their earnings call, right? So they're in that awkward stage right now where it's like they got so much potential, but they're kind of a screw up, right? And so, I'm betting that obviously this company's going to figure it out and they're going to go to where I think they're going over time. And that's why I'm placing my chips on the table where I'm placing my chips on the table, right? But they still obviously have to prove that out over time. And I put it to you like this, right? I don't know how many guys watch NFL or whatever, right? Both these guys were first overall picks, right? Which, both these guys, it was believed that they were going to become like if you're going number one in the NFL draft, you're kind of expected to be like a future Hall of Famer, essentially. That's why you're going number one in the draft, right? One of these guys ended up becoming one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. The other guy was out of the league a few years later, right? And was known as like one of the biggest busts ever. And this guy, unfortunately, was the guy that was one of the biggest busts in NFL history, right? And this guy ended up becoming, one of the greatest quarterbacks in history. And, in the stock market, it's kind of that sort of game, right? Where if you're betting on a company like the Chef, you're taking that kid out of college essentially, and you're trying to project that this is going to be the next Hall of Fame stock, right? And it's going to go up massively, and you're going to make a ton of money. But there's also that possibility that it could be the bust, and it becomes a Jamarcus Russell. So you never really know, right? Obviously, I'm placing my chips where I'm placing my chips. Now, in terms of my plan, if the Chef goes down, I have quite a bit of cash on the sideline, so I'm ready to deploy if that happens. If the stock drifts up and goes up, I'm going to likely just chill back for right now. I bought stocks so dang heavy for so many months. I mean, as the market just crashed and crashed and crashed, I flooded in pretty much the most amount of money I've ever, flushed in the market in a 6 to 9 month span. So I'm trying to catch my breath for a little bit and, kind of cash up a little bit in case we have any sort of major drop this fall in the market. At least I'm in a good cash position because I've been in a very bad cash position, basically, especially in May and June, very bad cash position because I was flooding money into the market. I was like, everything was just going in. So I'm kind of looking at cash up, for a bit here and kind of catch my breath. So that's kind of my plan going in. We'll see what happens. Obviously, there's a lot of eyes on the Chef, man. There's going to be a lot of people paying attention to their earnings. It's not going to be the most important earnings. 3Q and 4Q are, because those are the ones that they're actually expecting margin expansion and better free cash flow. But believe me, there's a lot of people watching this stock. And I mean, a lot of people, not just the people that own the stock. It's just one of those stocks, man. It gets a lot of people's attention, and there will be a lot of people paying attention to those numbers when they come out. I promise you that. So it's just that type of situation, okay? So, yeah, Monday's a huge day for me, especially after the bell, okay? Next up here. CPI data comes out on Wednesday, August 10th. This matters for every single person in the stock market. I don't care if you're a short seller or long. I don't care who you are. If you got money at all in relation to the stock market, this number matters to you. This is what the stock market cares about more than anything right now, even more than earnings, to be quite honest. They want to see what the CPI. Now, I think most people's expectations are that the number comes down from where it was the previous month. So previous month was 9.1%. I think most people are expecting something with an 8 in front of it. Not like down massively to like a 5% or 6% or something like that, but I think everybody's pretty much expecting an 8-ish type number to come in. And I'm in the same group. I definitely expect to see some sort of number. If we somehow got another 9 number, it would be a shock to the market again. We're down huge again. I'm not expecting that. I don't think anybody on Wall Street's expecting another 9% type number. But yeah, if it happened, expect the market to absolutely tank. But I think that's a very low probability, but it's always a possibility, okay? And so that will be what moves the market huge in obviously the back half of this week. Once those numbers come out, man, if we could see a 7, which I'm not betting on that, but if we could see something with a 7 in front of it, man, that would be big in terms of positivity for the market, because basically the market's so scared about CPI continuing to soar and the Fed being in a situation where they just have to continue to raise rates at this substantial rate, right? But if we can see, obviously, CPI come down this month, come down next month, then we're setting ourselves up for a Fed that doesn't have to be as aggressive. Maybe they still continue to raise rates, but it's at a much lower numbers than these, obviously much bigger numbers that we've been experiencing recently. The Fed's pretty much been raising rates at the fastest rate we've seen in decades. Think about that for a moment, okay? So yeah, CPI matters in a massive, massive way, okay? Then Friday, before the bell, I have over 100,000 shares of Honest Company, and Friday before the bell, Honest is reporting their earnings. So yeah, if it wasn't for enough already with the Chef reporting earnings and CPI, Honest is then reporting. And this is a stock I bought heavily the past, let's say, 6 to 9 months, and I mean heavily. I built it into literally one of my bigger positions now at this point in time, okay? And Honest, I mean, this is a stock that went public in 2021, never was able to find its big shareholder base and just has drifted down, okay? And I've been buying this stock heavy for the past 6 to 9 months, and I mean heavy, right? And, I never saw this stock go into 3. I never saw that. I'm still in shock that it ever went to 3 range, like 2, 3, like that's just crazy to me. And but it went there, and that's what happens when you are a money-losing company in a risk-off market that never was able to form a shareholder base around you. Who's left to buy you, right? And so that's been the story of of Honest. They've just been like an impossible kind of position that was the short term. Okay, I believe all that's changing now, and I believe there's some massive upside here, and I'll go through that in just a moment. But in terms of the numbers that are expected, revenue is expected to be down over 3%. For the quarter, so very low expectations. The current year, basically 7 analysts cover the stock. They're expecting flat revenue, so very low expectations. Next year, the story is expected to get a lot better with 8.6% revenue growth. I think that's in the bag based upon their retail expansion into some of these new retailers, plus likely price jumps in their products, plus sell-through. I think I'm expecting double-digit growth for revenue for 2023, to be quite honest with you. And I'm expecting a pretty strong back half of this year, 3Q and 4Q for Honest as well. By the way, if you don't know Honest, they sell diapers, wipes. That's a big business for them. They sell makeup products, beauty products, soaps, shampoos, like a ton of different, that's just called base necessity products. Okay, company has been around for about a decade now, but relatively new to the public markets. Analysts on average are expecting the company to lose about 30 cents a share for the current year, and but that is expected to improve to an 18-cent loss in 2023. I'm expecting them to lose less than 10 cents in 2023, and actually maybe even hit a, believe it or not, positive EPS number in the back half of the year. In 2023 for Honest, okay? So expectations obviously extremely low for the stock, and I mean extremely, extremely low. Now, when it comes to Honest, they've had some pretty big announcements, hit the press releases here over the past, let's just call a couple weeks here. One was on Tuesday, August 2nd. Honest, a beauty, the clean, effective, and sustainable skincare and makeup brand founded by Jessica Alba, announced today that it has expanded its partnership with Ulta Beauty, which is the key retailer you want to be in when it comes to selling beauty products. The nation's largest beauty retailer, by launching at more than 635 locations. The brand also launched its new skincare line, the Honest Beauty Clearing Collection, with Ulta Beauty, both online and in stores. The exclusive launch, paired with the expansion into brick-and-mortar stores, solidifies Honest's omni-channel positioning within the marketplace and delivers greater access to its products for consumers than ever before. We see a huge opportunity to meet the needs of clean, conscious beauty consumer with Ulta Beauty, said Jessica Alba, the founder of Honest Company. The Ulta Beauty guest truly knows a beauty inside and out, and we are thrilled to expand our nationwide partnership to bring best-in-class products to guests. Yeah, I mean, this is a huge deal, obviously. If you sell anything in relation to beauty products, makeup, anything, to be an Ulta is a big deal. And, you can't even be a big-time player until you're really an Ulta. Like, that's really the holy grail. Out there. So I mean, that's just beautiful to kind of see that, obviously. Then this hit on July 19th, the Honest Company, a digitally native mission brand focused company, right? They expanded distribution to Walmart. The brand is now available in Walmart.com and will launch in thousands of Walmart stores in the fall. Okay, so now Honest products are available on Walmart.com, but also they're going to be available in thousands of stores in the fall, which is a big deal, okay? Because think about the sell-through, think about how many new SKUs they're going to have in those stores and things like that. I don't think I need to explain to anybody how big Walmart is. Like, that's just a huge opportunity, right? I think in terms of Honest's customer base, I feel like it's more of a Target customer base, and I feel like Honest will always be bigger in Target than Walmart, in my personal opinion. But I can't deny the fact that Walmart is the biggest retailer out there when it comes to physical retailers, and you got to be in there, right? If you want to be a big player, it's kind of important. So I mean, those are huge deals. And when you start running the numbers on the amount of products they're going to have in those stores, in just over the next year or two, never mind 5 years from now, 10 years from now, it's pretty large numbers, right? And so I absolutely love seeing that. And it just, in terms of Honest, they're getting in all the retailers you want to get into. They continue to build their presence out in Target, which is very, very key. So I absolutely love this. And when I look at Honest, I see e.l.f. 2.0 for me, but I think it's going to be a much better one. Let's call it that. I mean, e.l.f.'s treated me great. It's a phenomenal stock, right? But when I saw an e.l.f. and when I bet on e.l.f., this was end of 2018, beginning of 2019. When I bet on e.l.f., What I saw in Elf was a company that I thought was going to become a revenue story, a margin story, a profitability story, and an overall just respected company. And that's exactly kind of what played out in Elf over the past several years. And now you look at how much the revenues have gone up over the last, several years since I got in that one, the margins, the profitability. It's incredible. It's incredible to see what's played out in Elf. And I see, in my opinion, Honest is going to do that same exact thing. It's going to be the same exact story is going to play out again. It's going to become a revenue story again in 2023, maybe even in the back half of this year, to be honest. So start seeing revenues go up in the back half of 2022. Then it's going to become a margin story. Then it's going to become an EPS story. And then it's just going to become an overall, wow, this is a big, respected, multi-billion-dollar brand. And that's what I see playing out there. And I think it's going to be, like I said, I think the amount of money will be way more. I'm going to make it Honest, to be honest. No pun intended. And I think the percentage gain will be bigger over the next few years. And I think it's one of those that there's going to be some ups and downs along the way, as with all stocks, right? But there's going to be a whole lot more ups and downs, in my personal opinion, over the next few years in that one. And it's going to be a fun one to play out. And, there's always a potential that Honest could sell out to, let's say, a Procter & Gamble or Kimberly-Clark or one of those companies, maybe even a Clorox. There's a lot of former Clorox executives that work for Honest. I hope that doesn't happen. There's just way too big of a long-term opportunity there. I see Honest as being a company that's going to have a multi-billion-dollar market cap in the future. And so I don't want to see that go away too soon. Let's just call it that. And, one of those big companies pick them up for pennies on the dollar. So my hope is they just continue to remain an independent company, do their thing, continue to expand into Target, Walmart, Ulta, and just continue to build their brand bigger and bigger. They resonate so well with the millennial generation and the Gen Z, and I think that's just going to be, I think that's just key. And I think they're going to resonate much better than Procter & Gamble and Kimberly-Clark. Those companies, very old school in their marketing, very old school in their approach. Those are the type of companies that I used to watch. When I was a little kid, my mom would have the soap opera on the TV or whatever, right? They had that whole game down back then. But in order to get respect from the newer generation, you have to market your brand differently. You have to go about everything differently. And a lot of those older companies are just very old school in their thinking and their processes. And I just feel like there's a changing of the guard in many industries. I see this. Obviously, I saw this in Tesla first, right? And just a changing of the old guard, of the old way automakers ran their businesses, and the company that's just coming to shake things up. I see it in the Chef, and I see it in a few other companies in the plant-based food movement, that they're just shaking everything up. I see it in Oatly, I see it in Impossible, as those companies just completely going to change the food industry in a massive, massive way, right? I watched Monster, which was a stock I was in, back in the day, which used to be called Hansen's Natural Beverage. I watched them completely change the soft drink category, and them, along with Red Bull, made energy drinks into something that was commonplace throughout the world. And it's just amazing to see that, right? And I see a company like Honest, I see companies like Elf coming in and shaking up an industry that's been stale and pretty boring for a long time, which is makeup, cosmetics, even like baby care products and things like that. Those industries are very old in their thinking, in the way they do stuff, in their processes. Those companies move at a snail's pace, and I think an Honest company is just is going to do a very similar thing that Elf did and just completely shake up the game. And it's amazing. I walk in a Target store nowadays, and I see these Elf displays, and it's so epic to see that, because this is something I saw before everybody else saw that. And no one saw it when I saw it. That's why the stock was at $7. It was kicked and it was down, and no one cared about it. And I'm like, I saw the vision, I saw that, and now I go into a Target store and I see just these massive Elf displays just everywhere in the makeup section. It's crazy to see that, right? I drive around here in Vegas, and it was crazy. Yesterday we were in the car, I was with my wife and kids, and in front of us there was a Model Y and another Model S. Obviously we had a Model X we were in, and then behind us another Tesla. It was I think it was either a Y or an X behind us. And it's 4 Teslas all in the row. I saw that before everybody else saw that. And, I think I'm seeing these stocks before everybody else is seeing them as well. We'll see over the next few years. Maybe I'm wrong. I think I'm right. And I think it's all gonna come together over the next, let's just call it 24 months. And I think that's just gonna be the start. So we'll see, man. Time will tell. It's going to be a massive week for me, though. That's all I know about that, guys. Hope you do well this week. Hope you make some good money. Much love as always. I appreciate you guys joining me. If you're looking to join me in the private stock group to learn how to value stocks, know if they're overvalued, undervalued, fairly valued, how to learn financial statements like a CPA would, income statements, balance sheets, cash flows. If you want to get access to my dividend investing mastery course, my Becoming Master of the Stock Market course, my Thriving in a Recession course, and also get access to the private Discord chat with the 6 and 7 figure members, access to me, and all those sorts of things, then go ahead and apply. It will be the pinned comment down there, and I'll see if we can get you in the private stock group. Much love as always, and have a great day.